For the first time in 4 years, Tragically Hip released a brand new EP. It's not a full album, but it is an EP, and man, it is fantastic. For the non-Canadian viewers out there, the Tragically Hip, in my eyes, is the greatest Canadian band of all time. I think that they are absolutely phenomenal. They're in my top 5 favorite bands of all time, and sadly in 2017, their lead singer, Gord, one of the greatest frontmen of all time, passed away due to cancer, and when they announced this album, I was very surprised. Then I learned that this EP is actually just bonus tracks from Road Apples of 1991, which was my favorite album of theirs for a while. It's my second now. I will go through their albums quickly, and not all of them, but some of them, just the ones I have here. And obviously, for those who don't know the Tragically Hip, I highly recommend listening to it. And their debut album is fantastic. Not a lot of people talk about it. It is fantastic. And then Up to Here is my favorite Hip album. It's a lot of people's. It really is the best. And then Road Apples is phenomenal. And then we have Fully Completely. Again, this is like top 3, at least most people would agree on that one. And then Day for Night is just fantastic. It has my 2 favorite songs by the Hip, Nautical Disaster and Grace 2. And then we have obviously Trouble at the Hen House, and everyone talks about this one because of Ahead by a Century, but it has a lot more really great songs on it. They are such a fantastic band, and yes, they did get a little bit in America. They got an SNL once in 1995, I think, and they played at Woodstock, but they really never got massive in America or anywhere else outside of Canada. But this is an album that I think that a ton of people should listen to. And yes, I'm going to refer to it as an album, but it is an EP, and it's only 19 minutes, but it feels like so much longer, but I don't mean that in a bad way, because I'm enjoying every minute of it. And yes, while listening to it, I will admit there were some times where I did get emotional just hearing Gord Downie sing again, because I really miss this guy. And I did a video a little bit ago, a movie night, about their final concert. I'll link it right up here, and that just blew my mind. But talking about Saskadelphia, yes, that is the name of this album. It's kind of a mixture of Saskatchewan and Philadelphia. I think it could just be a town name that I don't know of. That would make sense, but this is obviously just, as I said, bonus tracks from Road Apples, and you can tell in the album cover alone it has the same kind of style. And Apple Music does this cool thing with a little picture of the guy and his dog kind of like zooms up sometimes and like covers the full kind of album square, you could say. And I will say I wouldn't recommend going into this album without listening to Road Apples. Now, I think Road Apples is one of the greatest albums of all time. I feel like a lot of people do, and if you go into this one without hearing Road Apples, you'll kind of be a little bit confused because it has such a similar sound. Obviously, they were going to be on that album. Road Apples was originally intended to be a double album, it said here, and you can definitely feel that. It has the same exact feel. All the guitar kind of sounds very Road Apples-ish, if that makes sense. And obviously, Gord Downie is fantastic, and that leads me into the songs. The album starts off with the song Ouch, and this is probably the biggest song on the album right now. I mean, the album came out almost 11 hours ago. It dropped at like 12:01 a.m. or something. And this song already I saw was added to the Classic Rock Essentials playlist on Apple Music, which I find awesome. And the thing that stood out to me about this album was Gord Downie's vocals. He really gets that raspiness of it that you hear on something like, let's see, like Twist My Arm or Three Pistols. Obviously, I'm naming songs for Road Apples. You kind of feel it here. It doesn't have like the kind of mellowish tone of a song like Long Time Running. It's a very aggressive, hard song, and I really, really loved it. And then it goes into Not Necessary, and this one might even be better. I don't know. Again, I've only listened to the album once all the way through, and I'm going to listen to it probably like 3 other times today for sure. And Not Necessary, it's definitely on the same kind of line as Ouch. They're both really great, and also the riff of Ouch was really great. And then it goes into Montreal, and this is a live performance, and I'm guessing it was played in Montreal. But the reason I say that I think it's played in Montreal, again, I could be wrong, but when they played Bob Cajun in Toronto, and there's an album and actually like a recording of it, That Night in Toronto, and obviously there's the line in Bob Cajun, That Night in Toronto. And when he sings that, when Gord sings that, the whole crowd just goes crazy. And that exact thing happened when he said Montreal in this song. It was really great. Then Crack My Spine Like a Whip really reminded me of Three Pistols, like so much like it, and I really love it. Like when I say that they remind me of it, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like the best way possible, obviously. I've said many times how much I love this album. And then Just As Well as the shortest song on the album, still really great. Not as memorable as the other one, so it's probably the weakest, but again, I've listened to it once and I think all the songs are really great. And then it finishes off with Reformed Baptist Blues, and you can hear them in the studio kind of recording this, and yeah, this is like top tier of this album. I mean, we only have 6 songs and the album's only 19 minutes. They're all pretty short. Montreal is the longest one, and it's only 3 minutes and 50 seconds, so this album is quite short because it is obviously an EP, but Reformed Baptist Blues is really great. I really love the guitar here. And then once the song ends, what I really love about it is that you can hear, like, obviously they're finished a bit, but then Gord in the studio, you hear him go, yeah, can you boost the sound of my headphones a tad? And it's just like such a little Canadian thing about it. Saskadelphia is a fantastic album. I'm so glad they released this. It was honestly surprising. I knew there was a reason that they joined some other social media platforms like TikTok recently. There had to be a reason for it, and they only announced this like yesterday or something. I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of the hip, especially if you're a fan of Road Apples. You'll really enjoy this one, and I'm going to give Saskadelphia a 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, it really is great. I will admit, like, there were times where listening to this, I did get a little emotional hearing Gord again because I really miss that guy. I mean, the Hip is one of the greatest bands of all time. You can't see it, but I do have a Hip shirt on, and the second I heard about this, I was so excited because I'm always down to listen to more Hip music, and because I heard that it was obviously originally from Road Apples, and there's more in Apple Music that I need to read. There's like, you know, the little editor's notes information thing that I want to learn about. I really hope you guys enjoyed this album. Tell me what you think of it down below. What are your favorite songs? Did you like all the songs like me? What are your favorite Hip albums? Give me your top 3 and your top 3 songs. And soon I will be ranking all the songs on every Tragically Hip album. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.